Yeah. Yeah, it's huge.
You ready? Yeah. All right, we're going to bring this meeting back to order. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Queen Anne's County Commissioners meeting. This is a public meeting that is being aired live on our local cable television station, QACTV 7. These media broadcasts provide county citizens an opportunity to watch and review our scheduled public meetings. In addition to our live audience this evening, we are providing remote options for citizens to watch and participate in county commissioner meetings. Citizens may watch our meeting live on our website at qac.org/live or on our television channel, Breezeline Channel 7 and High Definition Channel 507. Citizens may also participate by joining the live Zoom meeting by going to qac.org/public comment. Citizens may also email comments to publiccomment@qac.org. All comments received will be summarized during the press and public comment period on tonight's agenda. We acknowledge your participation, and by attending, you acknowledge that this session is both recorded and aired. Press and public comment will be taken and is limited to 3 minutes per person. If you do care to speak, please sign up at the information table in our lobby. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing for the Commissioner's review. We will now stand and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Commission President Jim Moran.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you can remain standing for a moment of silence for the passing of Christopher Drummond, husband, father, businessman, and an avid bike rider, he will be truly missed. Thank you very much. Also, I'd like to let everybody know that Commissioner Patrick McLaughlin is zoomed in with us. He's on the big screen, so he's not feeling too good, but he's up there ready to vote.
All right, Commissioners, thank you. That brings us to the approval of tonight's agenda. So our agenda for this evening's meeting, March 26th, along with the regular session minutes, the closed session minutes, and the Sanitary Commission minutes from March 12th have all been circulated for review. Do we have any additions and/or corrections?
Motion to approve the agenda as submitted and the minutes as submitted.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Commissioners. So we just held a closed session under the General Provisions Article, Section 3305B7 to consult with counsel, Section 3305B10 to discuss public security, and Section 3305B1 to discuss boards and commissions. No decisions were made in our closed session today. Okay, that brings us to press and public comment. We appreciate all citizens for taking time to express views to the County Commissioners. Your comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments longer than 3 minutes may be submitted in writing. This commission respects your desire and right to convey your message freely. When you come forward, please speak clearly at the standing microphone. State your name, your address, and your topic of interest. And in keeping with the dignity of our office, we ask that all views be expressed in a respectful and civil manner.
First up, we have Ms. Cooney.
Yes, my name is Bente Cooney, founder of Plastic Free QAC, and I just wanted to, I live in Graysonville, and I wanted to this evening to, first of all, thank the commissioners very much for the support of the shrink wrap recycling program. That's very important to us, and we're thrilled that you support us. Secondly, I wanted you to know that we will come back probably in May to give you a report on how Centerville is doing on their bag ban, and so that you can more confidently look at that legislation. I'm here this evening because we would like your support on the bottle bill, which is not just a bottle bill. It has a long name. It's called Maryland Beverage Container Recycling Refund and Litter Reduction Program. And it's a long name for the bottle bill. And the General Assembly is considering it right now. It's the end of the season. We doubt they're going to pass it this year. But we are going to work hard between the sessions to get as much support as we can. You know we have a huge litter problem in Queen Anne's County, and so we would love to have your support on it. In broad strokes, the bill would require a 10-cent deposit on beverage containers, which is refunded as the bottles are returned. And as you know, we have a serious problem. Only 23% of bottles and cans sold in Maryland are actually recycled. Based on that data, in Queen Anne's alone, an estimated 34 million beverage containers go recycled every year and are left in the environment, landfill, roadsides, and waterways. And from the 10 states that have passed such a legislation or have such a program, we know that it causes great success. States with a 10-cent deposit, such as Michigan, have achieved a container recycling rate of 90%. So you're not going to find them lying in the street anymore. So what are the benefits besides getting rid of the plastic bottles in the streets? Well, it would quadruple Maryland's beverage container recycling rate, and at the same time, it would increase the high-quality food-grade recycling content for new plastic. It would actually save taxpayers and local government money. Beverage producers would finance the costs of the collection and the processing of the 3/4 of the beverage containers. Am I finished already? Is that it? Boo. Well, anyway, I could go on, but maybe we could meet about it, or really, I would love to have a letter and support from you. And could I thank you so much, commissioners?
Thank you.
Jim Thompson?
My name is Jim Thompson. I've lived in Centerville, Maryland all my life. I'm in support of the variance ordinance 2403. I'm speaking for the Queen Anne's County Watermen as well. We are supporting this ordinance. I would just like to say that there should be some type of fee added on for when somebody gets a variance of X number of dollars, and those dollars be used for repairing the county slips around the county. Thank you.
Roy Wilkins?
Troy Wilkins, I'm president of Queen Anne County Watermen's Association, 108 Spruce Drive, Queen Anne. We're here to support the ordinance. We understand that everybody that has waterfront property should have a pier, but also every waterfront pier is a place that we will never work again. And, you know, I've heard people say that your water's shallow. Well, this morning, the tide was really hot. So, you know, that might be a place that we can work at. So, you know, every pier takes a little bit of bottom away from the watermen in Queen Anne's County. And not only just the watermen, but if someone wants to kayak around the shore, you got to go around that pier. So every pier that is put out in the water is taken away from every resident in Maryland. So, you know, we understand that people need piers, but if we can keep them limited to 150 foot, that would be a lot better for us. So, thank you for your support always. You know, we appreciate everything you do for us, and thanks for the time to talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Schroeder?
Good evening. Thank you for your time and all that you do for our county. My name is Laura Schroeder. My family's house is located at 125 Grays Pond Lane, Centerville, in the Shrewsbury Farm community. As you have seen over the past months, there is a growing group of citizens in our county that are very concerned about the proposed location of the landfill, Midshore 3 solid waste facility proposed to be on Harper Road. There have been several items that have been brought to the county's attention. A March 1st, 2024 letter from the Maryland Department of the Environment, or MDE, requested the county send them a letter stating whether the proposed facility at Harper Road meets all applicable zoning and land use requirements, for which their first letter in August 2022 did not appear to. The proposed location must meet all of the applicable zoning and land use requirements. In the same letter, the MDE recommends the county to reconcile the location with their solid waste management plan due to the ambiguity of the siting criteria and logistics of the proposed location prior to expending additional resources. That might result in the permitting process and challenges during future phases. The county should reconcile the proposed location with the county's existing solid waste management plan prior to expending additional resources. We don't want to waste our county's money is one part of it. And the County Code Section 18-1-63 requires stream buffers to be 400 feet from perennial streams. Island Creek runs alongside the proposed landfill, and the buffer is well in the proposed landfill drawing supplied in the Phase 1 report that the Maryland Department of the Environment shared with us. While the county has provided memos to our concerned citizens with explanations to try and dismiss our concerns, telling us that none of these items apply because the parcel was purchased in 1991, or that the site waste management plan has confusing language, or that any of the plan's siting criteria only applies to private landfills, these just aren't being accepted by the state or the concerned citizens that are continuing to come before you regarding this matter. If items in the plan only applied to private landfills, that would have been noted in the plan. Not noting an exclusion means the exclusion does not exist. The county has approved every house in our Shrewsbury Farm community, for which we paid extensive impact fees for and continue to pay considerable real estate taxes for. If the county had knowledge that a landfill was being planned within a dangerous distance of residences and wells, this neighborhood should not have been approved. As a popular phrase states, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Once the considerable amount of houses were approved, this should have been removed as the current proposed location as a possibility. Please continue to hear our concerns and respond to these significant matters affecting our community and specifically our neighborhood in Shrewsbury Farm. We respectfully request that the commissioners look into the issues that we have been expressing concern with since October 2023, and that the Maryland Department of the Environment has now echoed in the March 2024 letter. Thank you again for your time and all that you give to our county.
Thank you. James Schroeder.
My name is James Schroeder. I'm that beautiful wife's, that's my beautiful wife over there. I was going to read her speech again just to reiterate it, but we are obviously married. I'm her other half, and yeah, it just doesn't make sense that because it's grandfathered in, it would never meet today's standards. And just because it was grandfathered in, something's got to either be done. Either one, the county would put and provide city water, that we're not in a potentially contaminated well situation, or do something, or lower our taxes in that area, or something. Or in my opinion would be to abolish it altogether, find another route, or find another option that's going to meet today's code. Just because it was grandfathered, to me, just doesn't make sense. If I did that in my house in today's standards, I applied for the permit 20 years ago, I didn't need sprinklers then. They'd say, go fly a kite, we still need sprinklers. I didn't get around those when I just built my house. And I may not have purchased it and paid all the money to build it if I'd known this was going to happen. So on top of that, on everything she just mentioned is true, but you also have the issues with more traffic coming through down 213 and 50. How's that going to impact not just Shrewsbury, but the whole community? Traffic, taxes and repairs on those roads, the sound of it. It's not just us. People are going to see it, hear it, smell it. And I would strongly encourage you all to oppose that. Do whatever you can in your power to stand by your community here and fight for us. And if that means kicking the can down the road with Talbot or working out a deal with them to keep it there longer or finding another location that might be suitable, I would highly encourage you all to do that. So thank you for your time. And I do appreciate all you do, and I hope you all will represent Centerville well in this endeavor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all that is signed up. Would anybody else like to speak? We'll close press and public comment.
All right, Commissioners, if you want to turn to the presentations portion of the book, that would be tab number 6. Our first presentation is Alyssa Crosley from the Queen Anne's County FFA. She's the president, and I believe she has some guests with her this evening, so come on up. I have a presentation here on the screen for us as well. All right, I'll introduce your friend, folks here.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Crosley, and I'm the president of the Queen Anne's County FFA chapter.
I'm Trevor Dean, and I am the parliamentarian for the Queen Anne's County FFA chapter. I'm Dylan Dean. I'm a senior, and I'm currently the first vice president of our Queen Anne's County FFA chapter.
On October 31st through November 4th, with your guys' donation, we were able to go to the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis. And so we came here today to give a report back on our trip. So first we're going to have Dylan speak.
First of all, I really appreciate your guys' donation. It has really opened up my eyes to a bunch of different opportunities within the careers in agriculture. I personally am pursuing welding, so I was able to speak to multiple welding universities and colleges, and actually I spoke to local 602 Steam Fitters Union located right in D.C. And I know I speak for more than myself on behalf of all of our FFA members that went. We all had a great time. It was very fun. It was highly educational, and I recommend doing it in the future. I highly encourage you guys to do it again next year. I appreciate it. It's really opened my eyes and opened my mind to other thoughts I never would have thought of just being within Centerville. Thank you. And while we were there, we all had opportunities to go to leadership workshops that help you learn team building strategies, helped you sort of like find what you're good at and the social skills that you can advance in. And it taught us all, like, oh my.
You're doing good.
Fine, don't worry about it.
Back to New York.
Okay, on top of getting to do workshops and go to a career, go through the careers that are available in the agriculture industry, we were also able to go on some career success tours. We had 3 different ones that 12 of our members went to. We had the Case warehouse in Indianapolis. 4 of our members were able to go to that. They were able to go through the entire warehouse, look at the parts that get sent out through Case for those tractors. They also were able to go through the processes that their careers that were available in that industry, as well as we had 4 more members go to a dairy farm. It was a Jersey dairy farm, and I know they had a lot of fun. They were able to drink chocolate milk, and they got to go see the cows, which also was a lot of fun. And then the rest of our members were able to go to a Christmas tree farm, where we were able to plant our own Christmas tree on the farm. And that was really cool to be able to see the different careers that were available through agriculture that we aren't really exposed to around here in Queen Anne's County.
So if you had to put a guess on the number of careers available, what would you say? Just ballpark?
The careers available, probably 20, 30,000 careers available in agriculture. And then some of the ones that were showcased, there was thousands that were showcased at the National Convention. So we were able to really explore many different careers that are available through there. on the board shows some of the things that we got to do, like our workshop, walking through Indianapolis, and then just getting to socialize with other members of FFA from all across the country.
How many chapters did you have out there?
I don't know the exact amount of chapter, but there were over 70,000 FFA members that were in attendance. So it was from all across. They also had some from Puerto Rico, things like that were also there. So meeting people that don't live in the United States, but live in its territories, getting to see that and their agriculture and how that works and their things was really cool.
The next slide showed a picture of a member from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
There.
Right there, there you go.
Yep.
So,
Oh, yeah.
how did you? Obviously, you guys got a chance to meet other FFA groups from Maryland.
Yep.
Yeah. What other chapters?
There was some from Queen Anne's. There was, God, I'm blanking on the names now.
Cecil was there.
Yep.
There was Cecil County, Kent County, Howard County, Prince George's. I mean, there was at least multiple chapters from each of the 50 states, in every territory. It was. You made a lot of friends that way, and in my eyes, it's a great opportunity. You make new friends. You learn about more careers in agriculture that you wouldn't think of. Like I myself, I went to the Case dealership, the parts and distribution center, and it was fascinating to me that every part you order online from Case's website, from the smallest washer to the biggest tire, tractor cab, they touch every part. Everything comes through them from across overseas. Everything comes through that facility and is then distributed to other parts of the nation, Canada, all across the world. And they touch every piece. I just found that so fascinating.
Looks like you guys attended a rodeo.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we got to go to a rodeo and a concert, which was a lot of fun. I think all of our members had like a lot of fun at both of the events. At the concert, 4 of our members were able to get floor seats. That was really cool for them because there were some kids that had never been to a concert before. So for them, it was really exciting. And then the rodeo was really good, had some really good cowboys and cowgirls, and it was just a lot of fun.
Lainey Wilson.
Yes, Lainey Wilson, yes.
That's exciting. That's awesome.
It's really fun. I mean, like I
Sneak
said,
home with them next year and go.
I'm a senior, and this was my first trip. I was never able to attend this trip in the past, and I've been in high school, obviously, for 4 years, and I've been in FFA since my freshman year, and I'm really grateful that I was able to go on this trip. It meant a lot to me, and I've considered even joining the 602 Steam Fitters Union just because of this trip. Thank you.
Former 486 steam fitter. So.
6.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for coming back and reporting to us. That was the.
And then, are you all seniors?
I'm
Just me.
Stewart Jr.
Just you?
Just
so you guys
me.
will be back next year. Try again. Okay. All
So
right.
that was the contingent on the help from the commissioners that you guys come back and report, and that was a great presentation, and we appreciate you guys. Thank you.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you for
so
all you
much
do.
for your donation.
Well done. Thank you very much.
You can hand them all to him. He'll pass them down.
Yep, very much.
Thank you.
Those 3 will be Patrick's here.
All right, Commissioners, our next presenter is actually myself and Mr. Jeff Rank, our Director of Budget and Finance. This is the proposed FY25 County Administrator's Budget. So this is also under tab number 6, item 2, and it'll be up on the screen here. And I'm going to join Jeffrey down here. Controls there, Jeff?
Yep, good to go.
Okay. This, at a high level, we have work sessions that are scheduled for the next couple of weeks that we're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty and the details, but So first slide here. Now, when we talk about our budget each year, we really look at 3 different years. We look at the FY23 actuals as for comparisons. We have our FY24 budget that we're in, and we have our FY25 proposed budget, which are the numbers that we're going to be really focused on here this evening. Is that better? Yep. Okay, that's better. Okay, so first, the FY24 general fund update. So we're showing our FY24 revenue projections indicate about a 4.7% increase over the FY24 adopted budget, that's a good thing. Our income tax and property tax are estimated at 1.9% and 2.4% above budgeted amounts respectively. Unfortunately, our recordation and transfer tax estimate is 6.5% lower than our budgeted amounts. That's due to home sales that are tapering off. Investment income is estimated at $6.5 million compared to $4.8 million in FY23, which is due to interest rates. And our current FY24 budget does include PAYGO funding of about $6.4 million for our capital projects. Okay, so moving into FY25 revenue highlights. Our budgeted growth is about 4.1%. It's an increase from this year of $183.6 million to $191.2 million for FY25. Our revenue streams, obviously our income tax and our property tax make up almost 88% of our total county revenue sources. Our income tax revenue is projected to grow by 4.4% from FY23 actuals, and our property tax revenue is projected to grow by 9.1% from the FY23 actuals. We do have some new revenue streams coming in next year from cannabis sales and short-term rental permitting program that we're going to be promulgating later this summer. Increases there of over about $500,000 in revenue. And we are proposing to keep the same property tax rate at 83 cents per $100 of assessed value and the same income tax rate at 3.2%. On the expenditure side, the Board of Education, we funded them at $5 million above the FY24 budget. This is actually $5.8 million above the maintenance of effort amount. MOE actually went down by $800,000 this year due to enrollment. The budget does include funding for employee recruitment and retention for our wonderful staff. We've added compensation for a 3% cost of living and pay for performance adjustments. I've included funding for 5 new full-time and 2 part-time positions in the Department of Aging, at the Bay Bridge Airport, in our Circuit Court, and our Department of Public Works, and our free public library. We also are going to see the return of the Public Housing Authority as a county government department. That is ongoing. And we have PAYGO funding slated for capital projects at just under $3 million for FY25. And feel free to ask any questions if you have along the way here. Okay, so this is a chart that shows all of our FY25 revenue streams. Obviously, at the top there, we have real and personal property taxes and income taxes. You can see about halfway down, we have the sales tax from recreational cannabis, the hotel tax increases, recordation taxes. You can see that's falling off. And again, this chart shows our FY23 actuals, as I mentioned earlier, our FY24 adopted budget that we're in now, and then the FY25 proposed budget, and then, of course, the changes from FY24 adopted budget and the FY25 change. So the total revenues, again, $191.2 million there in the FY25 budget, third column over. So that's an increase of about $7.6 million. On the expenditure side, we group these. This is all of the various county departments. Again, we have the same categories across the top: FY23 actuals, our FY24 budget year that we're in now, and our proposed for FY25, and then change. County administration includes the county commissioner's office, executive, the legal, budget and finance, to name a few. That comes in at $10.2 million. If you look in the third column, all the way down, the bold-faced type. Community services includes our Department of Aging, Housing and Community Services, the Local Management Board, and our Public Housing Authority as the new addition.
$4.45 million for FY25. Our Planning and Zoning Department at just under $3 million. The next grouping is our Public Safety, which includes our detention facility and emergency services at $22.8 million for FY25. Next, we have the Department of Public Works, which has a variety of divisions, including our Animal Services Division, General Services, Roads, Property Management. Does not include Sanitary District, that's an enterprise fund. They come in at $14.3 million for next year. Parks and Recreation also includes our two enterprise funds there, the airport and the golf course, at $6.8 million. So our subtotal then for the general county government is $61.4 million at the bottom there. This slide shows the Board of Education at the top. The allocation amount is $73.9 million, which includes that $5 million increase over the FY24 adopted budget and the allocation we gave them this current year. Then we have all of the other outside agencies that we provide funding to, which includes our state's attorney, the 4-H park, the sheriff's office, our fire protection and rescue, the FEC, Chesapeake College, the free library, and our health department. We have $32.3 million for the outside agency group for FY25. The next slide shows our other funds, our debt fund. For FY25, we're at $12.8 million, which is pretty much flat from the current budget year. Then we have some other budget categories, which include insurance, benefits, local grants, non-departmental expenses of $7.8 million. And then lastly, we have some transfers to the capital fund, ag transfer tax, EDIF, and fire impact fees, just over $3 million, totaling again the $191.2 million proposed for FY25 on the expense side. All right, now we have our famous pie charts. This shows the proposed revenue by source, just to give you a pictorial perspective. Income tax and property tax making up the lion's share of our revenue streams on that slide. And we have a corresponding expense by function that shows, again, the Board of Education, which takes the lion's share at 42%, followed by the outside agency group at 17%, then Public Safety at 12%, Public Works at 8%, and then County Administration at 5%. We always include this slide. We're very proud of our real property tax rate. This is all the real property tax rate values across the state, including Baltimore City, and we do remain as the third lowest of the 23 jurisdictions at 83 cents per $100 of assessed value. That's the yellow bar there near the right-hand side of the slide. All right, this next slide shows the a tabular format of the revenues and expenditures. It shows the FY24 amount at the top, and then the revenues and expenditures identified by the increases or decreases accordingly to tabulate down the total change of about $7.6 million, totaling the 4% increase, showing the $191.2 million budget for FY25. Just shows the differences between where those revenues increased and expenditures increased. Okay, the next series of slides shows all of the enhancements that we received from the county departments. The green bars actually identify where we had positions that we were requested. So at the top there we have the senior center assistant. The second one is the airport. This is a conversion of the ramp attendant from a part-time position to a full-time position, which was included. We have the Board of Education allocation at $5 million. The circuit court was looking for a part-time administrative assistant for the family magistrate. We have some funding for some additional software for publishing and graphics for our community affairs department. The next slide shows several positions that we did not fund for the Department of Emergency Services for Animal Control, Communications, and Special Operations. We did include a new vehicle for Animal Services, a work van for General Services, and a position for an administrative assistant at the Department of Public Works Roads Division due to some pending retirements.
Sorry.
Oh, we're off one slide.
There we
We good with those, or good with those? Okay. Okay, slide 16. For economic development, we've included a new software package. This is a location analytics software package to study visitation trends and trade areas and demographics. And several departments, including the Kent Narrows Development Foundation, have requested this. It'll help us identify where people visiting our county, where they spend time, where they go, so we can have real data to make adjustments and provide additional resources. Includes FEC, their accessible base allocation. Each year they get an additional 5%. Advertising, we do have funding here for turnout gear. We are going to apply for grant funding for the new turnout gear for all of the volunteer fire stations on the FEC. We've also included a position for a makerspace manager at the public library and a part-time facilities clerk. And of course, they're getting some additional cost of living increases as requested for COLAs and merits. I think this is our final page of enhancements. This includes a civil engineer for the sanitary district, which is enterprise fund. We show it here because it is a new position, and some additional software for our recreations division for RecTrack, and a new cloud hosting program for managing their activities and leagues. So overall, we've received requests for 13 new positions valued at $6.9 million. We've included funding for 7 of those 13 positions for a total of $5.9 million in our FY25 proposed budget. That's operations budget. Okay, any questions on operations? We can move to the capital slides. Our FY25 capital budget highlights here. We have a $45 million capital budget proposed, front and center, Board of Education. We obviously have our new central office, which is under construction currently. Stormwater repairs at our Kent Island High School, furniture replacements, fire alarm replacements, new stadium field lighting replacements, playground equipment at Sudlersville Elementary, and a variety of other small projects. Our roads division includes $9.4 million, of which $4.2 is grant funded for bridge maintenance and rehabilitation, roadway rehabilitation, capital equipment, design and construction of a new bridge crossing at Nichols Manor in Cloverfields, and our asphalt maintenance overlay program. For our Parks Department, we have funding for $2.8 million in funding for the South Island Trail development, additional court work, capital equipment, landscaping, development of our new skate park on Cocky Lane, the restoration of Ferry Point, pedestrian bridge maintenance, our rec center design activities, and a variety of other small projects. Information technology, we have just under $2 million in funding for additional infrastructure for IT, our continued expansion of broadband to the rural areas of the county, and a several cellular signal booster projects at the Board of Education schools and some other public facilities that are ongoing. For emergency services, we have $1.5 million in funding for a new ambulance, radio subscriber replacements, public safety network expenses, and additional replacement of protective gear and cardiac care equipment. For the volunteer fire companies, the FEC, we have $800,000 for the purchase assistance of apparatus and facility construction, and we do have 2 volunteer fire companies that are engaged in expanding their buildings currently, their stations. We'll be continuing with the Southern Kent Island Sewer Project Phase 3 and 4, which includes $5 million in funding for Queen Anne's Colony, Kentmore, Chesapeake Estates, Sunny Isle, Kent, and Bats Neck Normans, and Mattapique estates. And we've included actually $5 million over the next 4 years for the new regional hospital in Talbot County. We are funding that at $1.25 million per year each of the next 4 years. All right, the remaining slides here, or the next series of slides, includes the overall perspective of our 6-year capital budget. This includes FY25, the funding year, and then the 5 planning years. And I'm not going to go through all of these. I will maybe touch on a couple. At the top of this particular page, we do show some additional funding for the 4-H park improvements, which are ongoing. We got a significant grant through the Upper Shore Regional Council for activities down there. It's going very well. We hope to have that all finished before the fair this year. The historic courthouse, we have funding in the out years in 26 and 27 to continue that project. The Cloverfields flood mitigation, we have some funding earmarked for design in FY25, and then hopefully some improvements in FY26. On slide 21, we have some funding allocated for property acquisition for various public safety projects, which could include a new animal services facility, which would potentially begin in FY 26-27. We're also continuing our work with the detention center, the regional jail. We have funding for continuation of design and planning, and then construction beginning in FY 27 near the bottom of that slide. Here we have a variety of IT projects that we mentioned earlier, solid waste, public library improvements here on slide 22. Slide 23, we at the top, we have the continuation of the recreation center, which is in the planning stage. We'll hear a little more about that this evening later from Director Chanley. And then at the bottom of this slide and continuing on to the next slide shows the variety of other small projects that we have for the Board of Education, various system preservation projects for playground equipment, HVAC, and stadium field lighting and surveillance equipment on that slide. All right, next we have, this is the Parks and Recreation Group. Several other projects here that we have the White Marsh Sewer Extension, Ferry Point Restoration, which we mentioned, and pedestrian bridge maintenance. So the total general capital projects that we have programmed over that time period for FY25 is 28.5. Overall, throughout this whole planning period, it equates out to $231.5 million over that time horizon. Okay, the slide 26 has some activities we mentioned earlier. Our asphalt overlay program for the roads division, Maryland Road project, which is a special benefit assessment, Nichols Manor, Ackerman Bridges, that's a program for FY25 as well as an additional some small projects for our Bay Bridge Airport and public landings. Slide 27 shows all of the sanitary projects for water and sewer, and these are all enterprise accounts. Obviously, the Southern Kent Island project is continuing, and that's on this group. And then we have a project, a large critical interconnection project for water, a water main from the Kent Narrows back to the Graysonville Elementary School, planned for FY25-26. All right, the next slide. This shows the funding source for FY25 capital. We have a variety of funding sources, including $2.9 million in PAYGO, nearly $5 million in grants, $12 million in bond sales, operating funds for $1.8 million, $15 million for fund balance to fund these projects, and then we have $8 million in other accounts, which is largely for sanitary district, which includes special benefit assessments for the sewer extensions. Overall total is just shy of $45 million. All right, so we'll be digging into this a little deeper. Obviously, over the next several weeks, we have work sessions scheduled for this coming Thursday, and then the next couple of weeks, April 2nd, April 11th, April 16th, and June 4th, if necessary. Our municipal tax differential hearing is planned for April 9th when the towns come in and make their pitch, which I think we're pretty solid with the towns this year. We have a budget work session with Chesapeake College on April the 18th to discuss their program. And then we would propose to have the county commissioners' final budget released on May the 1st. And then we would begin our public information meetings, well, actually the public hearings. We have one required public hearing, which is the constant yield hearing, which will be in this room on May 21st. That's preceded by a presentation at the Bayside Elementary School, and then we'll be at the Sudlersville Middle School on May the 22nd, and with a schedule to adopt our budget on June 11th. So there you have it. Any questions, or Jeff's here to answer all questions.
All the slicing and dicing of it later on.
That's right.
I know
Now
this
the
is
fun
your
comes.
first, this is the first version.
This is the, yes,
but-
first version, yes.
Yeah, but please extend our appreciation to our department heads for their effort, put these numbers together.
We certainly will. It's a
And-
lot, it takes a
and
lot of
then,
time.
of
it's a
course,
lot effort.
reconsider the new numbers.
Certainly. You good?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good. I'll resume my position up here.
Everybody looks excited now, right?
Yeah, it's exciting.
Keep it
It's
on.
exciting
Keep it
stuff.
on.
Wake them up.
Public loves this
There's
stuff.
nothing like a budget process.
Everybody
but
loves
everybody-
this.
I really knows how to kill the audience. All right, we're slightly behind schedule, Commissioners, but we can now move to the legislation portion of our meeting. So first up, we have a public hearing on County Ordinance 24-08, and this is for the consideration of the readoption of the new Animal Control Ordinance, Chapter 9 of the Code of Public Local Laws of Queen Anne's County. So we have Mr. Pat Thompson, our county attorney, who will administer the hearing this evening.
Thank you. On February 27, 2024, Commissioner Wilson introduced County Ordinance 24-08, a bill entitled an act concerning revisions to the Queen Anne's County Animal Control Ordinance, Chapter 9 of the Code of Public Local Laws of Queen Anne's County, for the purpose of revising and updating the Animal Control Ordinance in Queen Anne's County, Chapter 9 of the Code of Public Local Laws, and dealing generally with animal control in Queen Anne's County by repealing and readopting Chapter 9 of the Code of Public Local Laws. This hearing is being held Tuesday, March 26, 2024 at 6:05 p.m. in the County Commissioner's Meeting Room, Liberty Building, 107 North Liberty Street, Centerville, Maryland. Copies of the ordinance have been available at the County Commissioner's Office or Department of Planning and Zoning during regular business hours and online on the county website. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each. Written testimony of any length can be submitted on or before the hearing date to the county commissioners. All hearing sites are accessible to individuals with disabilities. Sign language interpreters and assisted listening systems are available. Part of the record of the proceeding will be a certificate of publication indicating that notice of tonight's hearing was published for 2 successive weeks in the Bay Times, Record Observer, newspapers of general circulation in Queen Anne's County. No one signed up. Is anyone here? Is any public comment with respect to County Ordinance 2408? Bob? Yep. All right, you said.
We'll close it, and we'll leave the record open for 2 weeks, and vote in 2 weeks.
See you guys.
See you, Pat. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I'd like to thank the Animal Control Board and Commission for the hard work putting this together. So no comments, usually a good sign that it's a well-done product.
It's an extensive revision. A lot of effort has gone into this. That's for sure.
But long overdue.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioners, continuing with legislation, we have County Ordinance 2402. This was a hearing we held 2 weeks ago. This is for the an act concerning the camping cooperative use in the suburban residential zoning district
in Queen Anne's County. It is ripe for a vote, if you so choose to make a vote on that one.
Motion to adopt County Ordinance 2402.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So, could you give us the abridged version for the folks that are watching and here this evening,
Yes,
and what this is doing and why?
yes. This proposed ordinance is meant to address a long-standing compliance issue on our campgrounds within the county that are specifically located in the floodplain. So the need to address how we regulate campgrounds in the floodplain was identified by FEMA. We have a biennial review of our program. So our administration of the National Flood Insurance Program, which we are required to enact, mandates that our files are audited every 2 years. And our Region 3 FEMA manager conducts site inspections, random site inspections, and reviews all of the county's files to ensure compliance. Generally, during these inspections, they're called community assistance visits. There are small issues that are discovered, sheds and garages that need to have flood vents installed, but sometimes there are bigger ticket items. The fact that in Queen Anne's County, we have changed our regulations over time as they relate to campgrounds. So at one time, campgrounds were permitted as a conditional use, and now they are not. So the fact that we have a campground that is grandfathered has not allowed us to take the proper enforcement actions under the National Flood Insurance Program. A part of the issue with our compliance is that historically there was a decision made following Hurricane Isabel to give the campground itself self-reporting authority. So what we ended up having to do, which we explained when we brought this before you initially, was we have 3 tiers of compliance on site. We have legal nonconformance based on when the code allowed for conditional uses of campgrounds in the floodplain. And then we had a segment of approvals that were granted under an agreement that the county reached with the campground to self-report. And then we have straight noncompliance. So this ordinance does all of that, even though all it does is establishes provisions for campgrounds. But the intent is to bring it in line with FEMA requirements. Anytime there is noncompliance, it's the county's role to assist property owners to come into compliance. The National Flood Insurance Program is connected to every flood insurance policy in the county, and our rates are connected to the county's ability to maintain that compliance. The county is looking right now, because we are in such good standing, to have our community evaluated under the Community Ratings Service, and we will probably ultimately be able to reduce everyone's flood insurance rates because of our track record of solid compliance. This historic non-compliant compliance issue, the fact that we have a plan in place and are enacting this code provision to allow us to regulate and organize in a grandfathered situation, is putting the county in good standing with FEMA. Yeah.
So FEMA comes in to the county and looks at properties that the county has flagged, or looks at properties in general to find out, where there's violations?
They look at properties in general. This is not the only property that was flagged. There are several other properties. Some were very small, and we were able to address.
So how many, do you have an idea of how many they flagged?
They flagged probably, and I don't know off the top of my head, but probably around 20 to 30 properties where they were very simple fixes.
Across the whole county? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they were usually very simple. A few of them were more complicated. And so staff is working, our planning staff, planning and zoning staff, as well as the DPW staff, and especially, John Kling, who is our floodplain manager, is working with multiple property owners, this not being the only property.
So out of all those violations, how many are left now?
3?
3? Okay.
Do you have any in the Narrows?
Yes?
So in a nutshell, that's how we got here today. And we certainly want to be in compliance because we don't want our flood rates to go up for the folks that are in compliance that have flood policies. And it's the duty of the commissioners and our planning and zoning department to ensure that we are in compliance, to keep our flood rates down. So.
Very good. So entertain a motion.
You already got a motion, you got a second.
Oh, that's right. And Phil made the comments.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, he said this is only for campgrounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
This ordinance is. Yeah.
This one.
This ordinance, okay.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Yes, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 5-0. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Next up, we have County Ordinance 24-03, and this is an act concerning the pier length extension review by the Queen Anne's County Board of Appeals.
Motion?
Yeah, we have the,
We do have an amendment
Amendment,
prepared
right?
if the amendment.
We have to make a
Make a
motion.
motion on the bill first.
Oh, you got to do the amendment first.
Right.
You want to amend it, yeah. The
If you want to
amendment,
amend it, the amendment's got to be on it when you vote on it as amended.
Sure, we don't make the motion and the
And then
second,
we amend
then
the
we
motion?
amend it.
you should enter, if you want to amend the bill to grandfather those that are in the pipeline, you need to.
Amendment's got to be introduced
Introduce
before
it,
you
vote
can
on it.
go, yeah. You
and
got to do the amendment.
Vote on the bill, right.
so I move to amend 24-03 to have that, I guess this is the amendment, is to grandfather in applications that are pending currently. So that if somebody's in the process and we adopt the ordinance, they're already in the process.
Second.
Do we have a number on that?
Just, it's Amendment 1 to County Ordinance
So
2403.
there's just the
There's
one that
one.
needs to be
I just want
grandfathered.
to make sure there's, okay.
There were 2. There were
got
2
withdrawn.
cases.
There's only one. There's only one.
And it was
Oh, I'm sorry.
withdrawn, and now there's 1.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was talking about.
Sure, I think there's only one.
No.
He was
How many
asking-
properties were involved in that, that's all.
Currently one involved.
Yeah, so we're grandfathering any that were already in the queue.
Correct.
Which is one.
And you have a motion and a second.
Correct.
Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 5-0. All right, now we move on to 24-3.
Motion to adopt 2403 as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy and Stephanie. Thank you, Commissioners. That is all we had for the legislation this evening. We can go back to presentations. We have one more presentation. If you want to turn back to tab 6, item 3, we have an update from the Department of Emergency Services and a cardiac arrest award presentation. So Scott, Dr. Ciatola, if
you want to come on down with your team. And this is an update on special events, along with an award for a very heroic act during a cardiac arrest incident that occurred during the Bay Bridge Run.
Welcome. I'm going to get you to sit in the center. I'm going to get Zach.
Oh, yeah. You're center court.
You are the star.
I'm introducing this gentleman at the end, so he's kind of a surprise pack. But Commissioners, I appreciate the opportunity to give you an update, departmental update this evening. One thing that we wanted to focus on this update is special events, because our calendar is getting full with special events. It's that time of year. I figure I'd give you kind of an overview on how we handle special events. So, in 2022, there was 47 permits issued for special events across the county. In 2023, there were 64. So that was a 73% increase, and we're seeing the exact same increase coming up for this upcoming year. But the one special event I really want to focus on is the Bay Bridge Run. That's probably one of the biggest events that we handle per year, but it's also probably one of the biggest specialized events across Maryland. At the events,
No, you go past that slide.
It's a marathon,
right
not
on
a sprint,
past
Scott.
right on past this. Motley Crew.
So at the events, you never know who's going to show up as a VIP. And there is absolutely no added pressure on us to have our bosses show up to the events, which is a total understatement. There's a lot of huge pressure when our bosses show up to the events. But I know each of the commissioners have been involved in this event over the years. Commissioner Dumnell has been a food truck for several years.
Yeah.
I know Todd has participated in the event, so it's a specialized event for the county. We basically have a three-person planning team that plans the event for us, and it's our Special Operations Division who oversees that. Our department goes through probably 9 internal meetings throughout the year, 8 to 9 of them throughout the year to plan for the event. And then we have approximately 12 or more outside agency meetings that we have to attend to get prep for this event. We estimate that it's about, because literally as soon as the event is over and we have everything packed up, we start planning for the following year because it's so detailed on what we have to do. But we estimate it's about 24 hours a month that we put in to get this event off the ground, and it's a little over 800 hours of planning that goes into this event. And the event itself this is the book that we produce, and it's made from scratch every year. But this is every activity that goes on in the event, and every public safety agency that's involved in the event is within this book and what their responsibility is. So what does the event do to the county? So the event's basically isolated in the Stevensville area. Our population in Stevensville is a little over 8,000 per census. I believe it's probably a little higher than that, but we'll just use the 8,000 number. And the range of participants for this event range anywhere from 15,000 to 21,000, I think was the max that we had in our peak year. The 15,000 was just coming off COVID, and they're creeping back up to being in the 20,000 range again for the upcoming years. What does that mean for that area? Well, at a minimum, we're double sizing the population of that area, and in many cases, we're tripling the population of that area, because those numbers don't include spectators and everybody else that shows up just to see the event happen. So, if you're familiar with our department, we are overwhelmed because we don't have enough staff members to handle this. So we reach out and we have a ton of support agencies that help us get this event off the ground. And I hate listing them because I am sure I'm going to miss somebody by listing them. But just running down, we have several in-county agencies that assist us throughout the year. The health department does our emergency site and has participation in there. And potential sheltering if we have a disaster that happens at the event. Social services also assist with that. We use the Board of Education sites as staging areas. University of Maryland, and Mary Alice is putting some. She's in the background there. Mary Alice basically handles all the medical tent operations and is one of our most valued partners for this event. We couldn't get it off the ground without her. Kent Island Volunteer Fire Department is in the heart of their operational area, so we do everything hand in hand with them. As far as federal and state agencies, we have pretty much the full alphabet soup that assists us with this in our command center. National Weather Service plays a key role in this. They actually call the final call probably about 1 in the morning, the event day. They give us a go or no go. So far, we've had 0 no-goes, and it's gotten off the ground every year. We also allow our RACES, our amateur radio group, to participate in this, and they set up sites just in case our radio system goes down. We have several private entities that help us throughout the event, and probably our biggest partner in this is law enforcement. And we probably have a total of about 8 law enforcement agencies, but the core ones that are listed up there. And our primary partner, law enforcement-wise, for this is MDTA is the lead law enforcement agency, but our sheriff's office is the one we work closely with for the Queen Anne's County side of the event. So, our operational requirements, we have everything from a bus, a medical bus that comes in, to bike teams. We have a dedicated communications team that shows up on site for that day. So we have a mobile communications center or a mobile 911 center on site. We have hazmat support from the government, the medical tent, which we kind of highlighted, which Mary Alice oversees. We have a shelter set up just in case there's a need for a shelter, and Doc C and his crew kind of oversee that along with social services. We've got multiple staging sites that we use throughout the day. We're also in charge of setting up any kind of air transport and landing zones if we need it, and we need to use aviation for any of the transports. Our medical support, again, we still have to function our daily operations that we normally do on a daily basis. So we can't pull any of our active units that are in the field and put them on this event. So we basically reach out to all of our surrounding partners for assistance. Our prime ones are Anne Arundel County, Annapolis City, and the Naval Academy. But as you can see, the longest drive for a company was Frederick County. Sent 2 units this last year to assist us with the event, which was a big help. One thing that we did different this year is on a normal year, Zach's responsibility is to sit down and start calling all of our partners and say, can you help us this year? And that's probably about 3-4 weeks worth of phone calls trying to get people to come in. So we tried using a state process called MEMAC, which the state puts out an alert across the entire state asking for the resources to help us, and then they answer up. We filter through those resources and bring them in. And that's how Frederick County ended up helping us out this last year. And they were so excited to be here this year, they guaranteed that they're coming back next year. So we're happy about that. The other thing, if you see our units at various counties, at various events throughout the year, kind of the handshake deal that we do with everybody is you come help us with our event, we'll be there for yours. So everybody that's on that list, we owe them an event to help them out. So if you see our transport unit sitting in Frederick County one day, that's why we're paying them back for coming to help us for this event. So why is this so specialized? And I think this is probably one of the most unique events in Maryland. And I'd venture to say it's almost one of the most unique events anywhere in the United States. And why it's a particular problem for us, or why we put so much planning into it, there's basically 2 ways on and 2 ways off on this course. And most courses or most run events, there's access from multiple points if somebody goes down or if there's a problem in the event area. That's not the case on the Bay Bridge. There's a zillion and one things that can happen on a bridge. And this is kind of an ironic day to kind of go over this event because of what happened at the Key Bridge today. which is always a possibility that could happen at the Bay Bridge, I would assume. But anyway, we have to plan from anywhere from a stub tow to a terrorist event for this event. And that's why we need so many agencies and so much assistance to pull this off. But starting on the other side of the bridge, there's a command center set up over at MDTA at their police headquarters on the other side of the bridge. And then we have a command center that we set up on this side of the bridge. So the event starts, and the command center on the western shore is the one in charge of the event. When it hits about mid-span on the last group coming across, that command is transferred over to us, and then we're in charge of the entire event until it's concluded. And the course basically ends up in the business park every year. So, getting down to the finish line and the finish area, this is where this event kind of got special for us. So if you go back about 5 to 6 years, we had a cardiac arrest event that happened basically on the main span of the Bay Bridge. And what was unique about that cardiac arrest was they basically collapsed right in front of one of our transport units that we had staged on the Bay Bridge, which was very lucky for the participant. But we were able to get a pulse back, got his breathing back, transported to the Anne Arundel Medical Center, and he showed up the next year to run the event. And we were very proud of that save and that cardiac arrest save. And we're like, okay, that happened. It's never going to happen to us again. We're safe. We're good. We had the bad thing. We're good. So we went a couple of years and we were good. Well, this last year, we had another cardiac arrest event that happened at the race. And basically, what happened was a runner got to almost to the finish line, and about where that arrow sits on the map, right where you turn to go into the business park to hit the finish line, we got a call from our law enforcement, which was staged out where that blue arrow is showing, saying a runner's down. And one thing that was unique with this year is we had event trailers positioned all over the course, so we were able to video stream what was going on in the race. So we were able to actually zoom in on what was going on. And within a couple minutes of law enforcement arrival, we could tell that law enforcement was doing CPR on somebody. So we knew we had a cardiac arrest going on. The fortunate thing, right on the other side of the finish line is where Mary Alice has her medical tent and her medical crew. So we had a doctor, several nurses, very close to the finish line. And then right down the street, we had a paramedic unit staged, sitting right down the street. And because we had a video feed, we knew where the patient was, we were able to guide them into where the patient was. So I'd say all in all, when the patient went down, probably had less than 60 seconds before a law enforcement officer was on scene by his side, identified that there was a cardiac issue, and started CPR immediately. And one thing that I'm very proud of with our sheriff's office, which I don't think there's anywhere else in the state of Maryland that's set up the same way, but all our law enforcement officers are trained in CPR. And all of our law enforcement officers that have a vehicle and do patrol are trained in AED use, and they have an AED on their vehicle. And the reason we do that is we basically got a 6-minute window to transfer a cardiac arrest into a viable rhythm where we start having brain damage. And the longer that 6 minutes gets away from us, the less chance of survival at the end of the cardiac arrest event. But because law enforcement was there, immediately started CPR. I am proud to say Glenn, sitting beside me, was the patient that we had. And we're hoping that he participates in the race next year. Sign up tomorrow. Sign up tomorrow. What even makes this more special is, which we found out details about Glenn afterwards, is he is a law enforcement officer in Washington, D.C. So it was good to provide care and take care of somebody which is basically within our emergency services family. I know everybody that worked on him and worked the event, after they found out that he was a law enforcement officer, it just made it that much more special to us that we were able to save his life. And the most important thing, which is very odd, we rarely have somebody come back and thank us. that's almost unheard of. And I just lost the slide. Give me 1 second to get back to it. But Glenn made it a point to go to the emergency department, to the sheriff's office. He stopped at emergency services, visited everybody that helped him throughout the event. And I think that's mainly because you're part of public safety. But you're a very special person to us because that rarely happens. We rarely get to see the end result. We hear what happens, but we never get to meet the person afterwards. And you will forever be a special person within our department. We appreciate you taking the time to actually recognize the people. So the other thing that we learned, which is a little bit different, and I'm going to turn things over to Zach, but apparently we use Zoll cardiac devices, and apparently Zoll issues out an award to people that save somebody's life. So I'd like to have the Zoll rep come on up back there. You can have my chair. Zach, you've got the floor.
So, all right. So Zoll, anytime that we have a patient that is in cardiac arrest and we resuscitate and get a return of spontaneous circulation on and they get a survival to discharge, they issue a clinical save award to all folks that are involved in that. The team that took care of Glenn on the day of the Bay Bridge Run is here today, and we are going to recognize them and hand them their certificates and then hand them challenge coins as well for the excellent job that they did. So, guys, when I call you up, you can just come up and receive your award. Sergeant Leah Burge. Paramedic Kelly Russell. Paramedic Jen Dar. Paramedic Barry Garber. Paramedic Autumn Nordoff couldn't be here tonight. Lieutenant Robbie Loud. Captain Kevin Brenner. EMT John Darling. Yeah. EMT Jeff Keel. And then our law enforcement partners, DFC Tyler Audrey. First deputy on scene. Deputy Nicholas Kendall. Corporal Anna Dickey Faggart couldn't be with us tonight. And then representing the Queenstown Medical Tent is Mary Alice Van Hoy and Lisa Lyle. I'm going to ask you all stand up. I'm going to This is indicative of the team that it takes to save a life, and we can't be any more proud of the cardiac arrest care that we do in Queen Anne's County. I would put our team up against any EMS system in the country, and I think that we come out on top.
So would we.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So any questions for us?
Nope.
That's our update.
Good job, Zach.
Great story, huh? Great story.
Next year. All right. Because, yeah.
You just have extra costs.
Yeah. Because with one of them. Push out of the way. Yeah.
All right, Commissioners, we can move into the action items this evening if you are ready to do that. We have 2 items for the Department of Public Works, actually for the Sanitary Commission, so if you want to turn to tab 2 and convene as the
Make a
Sanitary
motion
Commission.
that we adjourn.
Second.
As Sanitary Commission?
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. So tab 2, item 1, this is an annual activity we have proposed for the FY25 sewer and water rate increase, and the Commission adopted resolutions that cap the annual rate escalator at 6.5% for sewer, 5.5% for water for all sub-districts except for South Kent Island. These resolutions had language that indicate that increase is automatic unless the Commission says we want to do something different. So we have to do this as part of the budget resolution, budget process. So this year, the Director Quimby, who is on assignment this evening, has suggested and recommended to keep the rate increase at 2.5% for both sewer and water increases for FY25.
I move to set the annual sewer and water operations and maintenance rate escalator for all sanitary district rate schedules for the FY25 budget year at 2.5%, with the exception of the Southern Kent Island subdistrict, which will see no increase in rates.
You have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Somebody's got to recuse himself.
I'm the only one that's on it.
He's a ratepayer. He's got to recuse himself.
He's looking for an increase. How did he?
That's why, okay, so call for the vote.
So
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain.
Yeah, that's probably cleaner.
Yeah. I will say the defense of the commissioners, was it 2 years ago? We didn't raise it at all. We left it where it was.
Yes.
So.
Well, we had a 2 out of 3 year run where we didn't do any.
You didn't vote on that one, did you?
Yes, I did. You're not going to raise it. You're going to get my vote.
That's under protest.
All right, Commissioners, item number 2, also from the Sanitary Commission on page 2. This is for the Southern Kent Island Sanitary Project Phase 3. It's an MDE loan resolution, official intent to reimburse. So this has been prepared by Bond Counsel to enable the sanitary district to be reimbursed for eligible costs associated with serving Phase 3 of the ski project, which includes Kentmore and Queen Anne's Colony with county sewer.
I move to execute the official intent to reimburse Resolution 24-02 in order to secure Maryland Department of Environment loan funding to fund the ongoing sewer improvements for Phase 3 of the Southern Kent Island Sanitary Project.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. That's all we had for the Sanitary Commission this evening. We can return now to tab number 3 for the action items for tonight. So tab 3, item number 1 on pages 1 through 8. This is a National Purchasing Cooperative Interlocal Participation Agreement. Yeah, Director Haas can come on up. He has a couple things here. So this is Department of Emergency Services requesting authorization to enter into a interlocal participation agreement with the National Purchasing Cooperative to receive reduced pricing on medical supplies.
So I have a very strict boss, and he's given us an order to find cheaper supplies. So in an effort to find cheaper supplies, Zach and his crew found this participation agreement that we can participate in. Our intent is to purchase a lot of our medical equipment and supplies through this co-op. The co-op agreement has been reviewed by Pat Thompson and approved to move forward. We also, because Pat had a question just to make sure that it met the requirements of our purchasing policy within the county. So we went through the finance office to ensure that it did and got the thumbs up on that. So we're just seeking approval to engage in this co-op.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion first. I move to authorize the Director of Department of Emergency Services to execute the interlocal participation agreement between the Department of Emergency Services and the National Purchasing Cooperative.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Patrick.
Generally, Mr. Director, on these group purchasing agreements, sometimes, or a lot of times, it's about volume. Meaning the more you purchase through them, the greater the price. Is that part of this?
It could potentially be part of it. So our goal with this is not directly purchasing everything through this, but if you look at the county policy, we basically at a minimum have to have 3 sources of pricing before we actually execute something, or we have to have a contract in place for that purchasing. So this would be one of the 3 that we're surveying for prices before we actually purchase something. So we're not solely going to purchase through this group, but when they have the best pricing, we will be purchasing through this group.
Right. So are we by definition the cooperative member?
Yes.
Okay. So on page 3, paragraph 4, it says the cooperative members will make timely payments to the vendor for the goods, materials, and services received in accordance with terms and conditions. That's when we purchase. There isn't a fee that we pay to be part of this program. Okay.
Just when we purchase.
Right.
And I think the main reason our EMS division really focused on this is we're still purchasing from our main suppliers that we're currently purchasing. It's just at a cheaper price.
This isn't exclusive where you have to buy just through them, correct?
No, we're not locked in. So the main thing is they've got bids from multiple vendors throughout the country that they've gone through a bid process for that have listed significant discounts from whatever the base rate would be. And then the cooperative has awarded those bids, not to everyone, but we have the option to either purchase through them, or we can purchase through our existing vendors, or we can do a new vendor through a vendor app. We're
Just
not
like
locked
using
into
Sourcewell.
Yep.
It's just another tool in our toolbox.
And then you're going to have one, NACO's getting ready to roll their version out. So you're going to have even another one to deal with. So.
Good idea.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, the motion is to move to authorize the Director of Department of Emergency Services to execute the interlocal participation between the Department of Emergency Services and the National Purchasing Cooperative. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So moved, 5-0.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 2 on pages 9 through 13, this is a teaming agreement with the University of Maryland, Baltimore Tele-EMS program. And this is requesting authorization to enter into an agreement with the University of Maryland to initiate a pilot Tele-EMS program.
I move to authorize the Director of Department of Emergency Services to execute the teaming agreement between the Department of Emergency Services and the University of Maryland, Baltimore.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Patrick, you have anything to say, or are you good?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. We have one more, well, let me do item 3 real
Want to
quick.
skip to it?
We can do items.
Let's skip to it so
All right.
we can get them out of here.
All right, item 4 on pages 63 through 66. This is the 911 surcharge fee proposed increase. As we all know, the county receives a 911 surcharge fee from each telecommunication service provider for your cell phones. Our fee
can range anywhere from 75 cents per device per month to $2.25. The state charges 50 cents. Our total charge right now is $1.25 here in our county, and we are currently receiving the minimum 75 cents for our share, and there is a recommendation to increase that fee locally here to be commensurate with the other jurisdictions surrounding Queen Anne's County, up to $1.50 per device per month. We received in FY23 $531,000 and change from that service, and this would essentially double that revenue stream if enacted.
I move to authorize the Director of Department of Emergency Services to request a 911 surcharge increase from 75 cents to $1.50, which will be implemented on July 1st of 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I really have a comment I really want to make, more so than anything than a question. I know that there are times that we transport folks that don't have the money to pay the transport fee. So they pick up their phone and they dial 911. We dispatch an ambulance to them, and they have to be transported to a medical facility. We bill for that ride, and we don't always get the money, and we don't go after those folks to get our money. And I just think this is just a small way that we can collect some of that money that is expelled because we don't chase after those folks that can't pay.
Very good point. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So moved. 5-0.
Commissioners, thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
We'll try not to be on your agenda next meeting.
I think you're on the next meeting for the budget workshop.
Oh, you're
Thursday.
It's not official.
Workshop.
Workshop. All right. We'll see you Thursday, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Okay, jumping back to item 3 on pages 14 through 62. This is the FTA, Federal Transit Administration, and MTA, Maryland Transit Administration, certifications and assurances. And we do these documents annually. They're presented. This informs the FTA and MTA that we operate our local public transit system and our statewide specialized transportation program in accordance with all certifications and assurances.
I move to adopt the resolution 24-07 for the Federal Transit Administration and Maryland Transit Administration certifications and assurances FY 2025 pack. Huh? 01. Sorry. Resolution 24-01.
Maybe you should
on
take
a
those
roll.
glasses and slide
On
right
roll
down
too.
where you're actually wearing we'd be adopting something we don't even know what it is yet.
All right. I move to adopt the authorizing resolution 24-01 for the Federal Transit Administration and Maryland Transit Administration certifications and assurances FY 2025 packet to certify that the Queen Anne's County Department of Community Services Area on Aging will operate the public transit system and statewide specialized transportation assistance program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Sure, we can't get Chris to read it again.
Hey, Chris. Chris, just drop it.
It's only for distances. Only for distance.
Haters are going to hate, man.
You
Don't
know,
worry
it's
about
just,
it.
it's just.
I want you to read it again.
That's a mouthful.
I tried to shorten the meeting for him a little bit.
I know.
You know? And then here it goes. There it goes. Ruins it for us.
Act like they're getting paid.
No teamwork here.
Margie's down here trying to figure out what we can put for 2407 now.
Oh, we're going to blame that on Margie anyways. Right? There you go.
Short time.
That's right. Okay, moving on, Commissioners. Item number 5 on pages 67 through 74. This is the CDBG program required plan approval. So as recipients of the State Community Development Block Grant, the following plans are required to be in place: Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity Plan, Section 3 Plan, and Minority Business Plan. And we're requesting the Commission's approval for each of these plans for Queen Anne's County.
I'll make a motion that Commissioner Jim Moran sign.
Try again.
Well, I mean, I don't have the version in front of me.
The Queen Anne's County Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity Plan 2024, Queen Anne's County Section 3 Plan 2024, and Queen Anne's County Minority Business Plan 2024. Second.
Motion and a second.
I don't know who did the motion, who did the second, but
It was a joint effort on the motion and then double second. Don't put that one in the minutes that way.
Never getting out of here.
I know it.
This meeting's got to come to an end.
Okay.
We're almost.
So with that being said,
Twice.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There you go.
Sorry.
Parliamentary procedure went out the window on that one.
That is teamwork, gentlemen, teamwork. I love it. All right. Moving on, item number 6 on pages 75 and 76. This is the Chesapeake Country Scenic Byway Alliance in partnership with the Tri-County Council. We're applying for a $50,000 non-capital Maryland Heritage Areas Authority grant to fund the next phase of the All-American Road project, rolling out of the Chesapeake Country All-American Road. So if that grant's awarded, we're going to receive some new signage that will be represented on the website for the Chesapeake County All-American Road. We have a small match that can be supported through in-kind services. This is.
I move to support the QAC Economic and Tourism Development Chesapeake Country Scenic Byway Alliance in their application for the Chesapeake Country All-American Road Maryland Heritage Areas Authority grant and to execute the letter of support as part of the application.
You did. And we got a second from Patrick.
Patrick has a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Commissioners. Item 7 on pages 77 and 78 is Economic Development Strategy Vendor Recommendation. Economic Development and Tourism recently solicited proposals from qualified consultants to develop a comprehensive economic development strategy to guide the county's program activities for the next 5 years. It is funded via a grant from the Rural Maryland Economic Development Fund at $50,000. They received 9 proposals. After review, they selected emergent method based on their approach. They're within budget. Their budget is $49,960.
I move to approve the selection of Emergent Method as the vendor for the economic development strategy.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? This wouldn't be the company that came up with the Q logo, would it? Okay, just
I cannot answer
Still
that.
Still bitter about that one.
She's shaking her head over there. Okay, all right, we're good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item 8 on page 79 is an informational item. This is for the public engagement phase of the Recreation Center feasibility study, and I believe Director Chanley wanted to give you a quick briefing on this next phase of our Recreation Center feasibility study. This is the outreach portion, just to give everybody a kind of a heads up on where that's going to
Sure,
take
there's
us.
not a vehicle
Give him
involved.
Chris a last
I mean, I'm not seeing any zeros.
Hey, did you win a
nothing
little
on this.
scratch the other day? And you didn't win the competition.
Oh, the safety jackpot.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Phil was wondering where his cut was, but I wasn't sure.
Hey, if you need to borrow a pole saw, I got you covered.
Okay.
Is that,
Use it one time and post it.
You
in
know what,
the
let me
shed
tell you
for a while.
something, a pulse off is, yes, I will pick you up on that.
So we just want to give you a brief update before we really kick off into the feasibility study. And first of all, we want to thank you guys for, approving that and allowing us to move forward and see, the viability of such a building for us. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to present James Miller, our recreation manager, to kind of give you an overview of what's to come. But I also need to acknowledge Bear Eismeyer, who has put together a lot of, she's our project manager, and she's done an outstanding job of pulling everything together and keeping us straight. And James has also been knee-deep in it as well, so let me go ahead and turn it over to him.
Yes, so currently we're in the needs assessment phase with Barry Dunn. So they're kind of going through that on the back end. But the information item I guess we're reaching out to you about is April 22nd through 25th, we'll kick off our public engagement phase. So that will consist of focus groups, open house, focus groups with community stakeholders and county employees. So it's just, we wanted to brief you guys to make you aware of that, and it's going to be
big push to really get as much community input and outreach as possible, because we really want to hear from the community as far as what type of things they would be looking for and what they think would be viable, because that's kind of, I mean, that's what we're doing this for. So,
Does that count for the commissioners too?
of course.
Okay.
Most of them, at least.
So the big portion of Barry Dunn's public engagement is actually a website, or it's an online engagement portal. Social Pinpoint is the name of it. And once they launch that, they'll be launching that, I think, the week before they come. So the 22nd through the 25th, they'll be on site and conducting everything on the ground here. But that site will be the biggest driver as far as getting feedback and pushing that out to the community and getting people to reach out and give their feedback and participate in this feedback.
So with, just a little bit with those public meetings or focus groups, we've got a list of about 60 groups and entities that we've done, I'll say done business with. So we'll be sending them out an invite to participate in that. There'll be 4 different dates, 3 or 4 different dates that they can choose from, different times, from one at 9 o'clock in the morning, one at 2:30, one at, I think, 4:30 or 5:30, to give people the best opportunity that works into the schedule. And there'll be about a 90-minute time frame that they'll be dealing with our contractor to help, extrapolate some of that information that they're looking for.
So do you guys have any questions or?
So no motion required, just informational for the board to.
So what happens after this?
After this, they'll do they'll look into market research and demographics of the area, and then from there they go into site research. So their subcontractor is CHA. We gave them 4 locations to scout, and then from there we'll kind of get a briefing. One thing with Barry Dunn that's very beneficial is we're communicating the whole way through. It's not like we leave it with them and then at the end we get a report. It's each step we're kind of going with them, going along with them. So,
when do you anticipate the entire process being done, coming to us with saying, here's some options?
It's supposed to conclude in December, is the final report. We'll probably hear something probably October, November, where we'll have a pretty...
Start to get a feel for it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
I can suggest the next process after that, the next steps after that.
What was that?
After the approval process, if you need a little hint, I can tell you. Well, and I do say that, half jokingly, but, the December timeframe is actually key because, whatever comes out of it, we want to be able to put it into the following budget proposal cycle for FY26. So, we're going to really kind of hold Barry Dunn their feet to the fire to get us, that information no later than December, because Con has to put that budget together, and we need to come before you guys.
I mean, I believe this is a great idea to reach out for that feedback, because the definition or what our citizens are conceptually thinking in their mind what a rec center is going to be all over the place. Yes. And so, I mean, again, that's why I jokingly asked to the commissioners, because I have some ideas of my own that I'd like to see considered anyway. I'm not allowed. So this is awesome. I'm just telling, this is the beginning of something pretty amazing.
And I can speak for our Recreation Division and our department. I think we're all very excited about it. And of course, we appreciate all your guys' support. I think you guys really been behind us as a department, and we really appreciate that. So.
And I'd like to think that with some of the things that could potentially be involved in this recreation center, that there could be some other factions at a state level that be willing to give us some money and help fund the project, like the MPSSA.
No baseball at this thing.
No, I'm not saying baseball. I'm just saying, the MPSSA, which governs, your high school sports. If this facility that we're building, this rec center that we're building, can house playoff events, there could be some funding from the state. So.
Don't we fund all that anyway?
Huh?
That's all education, we fund that already.
Still technically, yes, I guess if you look at it that way. It's just a better athletic budget.
Very good. We look forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Long overdue. Let's get her done.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank
all.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all. Okay, 2 more to go, Commissioners. Item number 9, this is the Maryland Transit Administration is proposing to reduce commuter bus service that will be, that services from Kent Narrows to Annapolis, Baltimore, D.C., and Davidsonville. So there's 3 routes, 210. They're reducing those number of trips from 10 to 6. Route 240 is proposed to be discontinued, and Route 250 actually is going to be continuing their daily runs. So the comment period is open until April 29th. We do have several commuters here that have reached out to us. That's the way they get to work and reduces trips across the Bay Bridge. So we have drafted a letter opposing this, but if you need some more time, the comment period is open until the end of, March 29th of 2024. So.
I move to prepare a letter of options, excuse me. I move to prepare a letter of opposition to the Maryland Transit Administration regarding the proposed commuter bus service cuts from Kent Island.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Our final action item this evening is Budget Amendment CC-18. This is actually for fire impact fees, and this budget amendment allocates the actual impact fee dollars collected to increase our spending authority that will be distributed to the volunteer fire companies this year.
I move to approve Budget Amendment CC-18, impact fees.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Jeff, you got all the backups going with them this year? All the backup? The permit?
We're working on that, yeah. Okay. We usually distribute these after the audit is finalized, and I think that's not quite final yet, but yeah.
Okay, but they'll have the backup for...
Yes.
Okay.
Just like we did last year. Yes.
Just like we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Welcome.
All in favor?
I guess we got to vote on that. This is the Budget Amendment CC-18. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Boy, this is going south very fast.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all we had for this evening, Commissioners. Press and public comment?
None.
Roundtable.
Patrick, you get to start off the roundtable.
I'm good.
You're good. All right. Jack?
No, I just want to, obviously the elephant in the room, what happened this morning is just freakish, tragic, and so many, the long-term effects, I think, beyond the probably loss of life that's involved, is just to the overall economy here in Maryland. And just, it's going to be tough to come back from. And you see something like that, and it kind of, if not for there, where, the kind of thing, because let's face it, we've always talked about, knock on wood, the Bay Bridge being something that's susceptible to something like that, and what if there isn't another one, so it definitely woke a lot of people up this morning. I know I was awake at 1:45, and that was the first thing I saw when I turned on the TV this morning after it happened, and I thought it was some place in China. They were shocked, but, it's crazy, and like I said, take each day like it could be your last, because sometimes it can, unfortunately.
Construction workers were. That's what's missing.
Yeah, and I'm guessing, just not to get off subject, but on the reporting on that, so I'm assuming the vehicles they did find were not people, they were construction vehicles? They had said they had found vehicles? Okay, so...
They did, they called a mayday, and they hit it,
and they stopped the bridge.
They stopped the bridge, but the construction workers who were out on the bridge, You know, and I think that's really the only reason one of those guys came out unscathed. He rode it down and got it, in the water he went.
Yeah.
The other guy probably got hit by part of the debris. And
But kudos to the state and all that operation. To take that Mayday and save probably 25, 30 lives of the cars that were coming up to go on there. I mean, that says a lot about how those tabletop exercises work, and, that little extra time probably saved, like I said, probably 20, 25 lives at that time in the morning, at least, so.
hope that, the president came on and said, Maryland's
They're going to fund it, right?
Yeah, so they're going to jump
There's
into the
going to
game.
be no delay in getting it rebuilt.
We'll see if they don't have to go through a NEPA. I'm just asking.
I knew Jim was going to bring that up.
Just want to know. But
So there are shortcuts, we're going to find out.
yeah, which is okay. I mean, I get it. But it does bring an alarming factor. If anybody that, I don't know, wants ill will, you can only imagine. We looked up today, Stephanie actually did, that was about 115,000 tons hitting that structure. So it doesn't need a whole lot of speed. I mean, even going at 6 miles an hour.
Talking about the boat itself.
Yeah, the ship. It's just the inertia right there is going to.
But the suspension bridge did what it was supposed to do. It didn't destroy the entire bridge. If you look at the concrete leading up to the suspension part, is still pretty much intact. It's just the suspension did what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to. If any part goes, it's its own weight is what's holding it. Yeah. If you break it anywhere, it's going to go down. So
that's a lot of debris. That's a lot of money the port's closed down. Cruise ships can't come back. Truck ships that are in there can't leave. Ships that are sitting out here in the harbor can't even go. So can't go in. So it's.
I imagine once they get this portion, I would imagine they're going to bring in some heavy duty equipment.
Well, I think they'll probably take some of those cranes that are sitting at the Bay Bridge now
and move them. That's what I was thinking.
Because they're both MDTA projects, and the need is greater here. They got to get that port open. That's crucial.
And that's a lot of steel to move around.
Between the fuel that goes down to Pax River and everything else, the barges, the
cars. We're the number one exporter importer of cars on the East Coast.
Really?
Yeah, that port is. So that's a huge.
So that means they got to be planning to move them somewhere that's got a rail. So
exactly.
That's a shame. Wow.
They're all going overseas.
I mean, what are the odds that something like this hasn't happened since 1980 in Tampa, and they didn't close the channel? I mean, this has got to. It's not good. So
the sad part is, I mean, I guess they're going to have to take a hard look at some of the safety. I mean, we grounded a boat up there, not even 2 years ago for almost a year. Right. So there's
two, and both these vessels are piloted by
our pilots.
Yeah, our pilots. It's an issue. Anyways,
So on a more brighter note, two things. One, this is what, so I'm going to be talking about this shrink wrap recycling program that we are initiating. Every single round table opportunity I can get. And I want to thank Beth and her efforts in getting this out to the public. But this is the bag that you will get for free. And when the contractors, the marina, or whoever you're going to get to take the shrink wrap off of your boat, will cut the vents and the zippers out, they'll fold it up, and they'll put it in this bag, and then it will be taken over to the Graysonville transfer station where there is a special dumpster that this is all going in. So please, 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 if you have shrink wrap on your boat, please get involved in the program and recycling that shrink wrap. Appreciate it.
How long is the dumpster going to be there?
It's got a deadline but it depends on, so I can't answer that question yet. It just depends on how much participation we get and how much time. But we're working with our folks at the transfer stations and
where do they get these again?
So the marinas that are participating will already have them, but if you're a private boat owner, you can get it at the town of Centerville's City Hall. You can get it at West Marine. You can get it at a hardware store. Rommel's Ace Hardware. And Refill Goodness. Those are the places where private citizens can go. If you have a boat that's shrink wrapped and on the hard at a marina, encourage your marina to reach out and get involved in the program. We'd appreciate it. And then, of course, Thursday, Orioles opening day. Good luck to the O's. Our staff weatherman here says the game's probably more than likely going to get pushed to Friday. But anyway, go O's.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Here, hold on a second. Here we go.
That's a hard act to follow, my man.
All right. One follow-up on the Key Bridge issue. I heard that there's 35,000 cars a day. That
31.
Go, 31.
Yeah,
So
and we're 61.
So people should expect that that's going to have some impact on our traffic because cars will get rerouted.
Hazmat.
Right.
We are now the only north-south hazmat route.
Is that right?
Yeah, because
We were the favored route anyways to begin with.
But the Key Bridge was a hazmat route. The tunnels can't do it, so we're going to get it all now.
Right. So April 10th is our town hall on the ramp management. So it's timely because it's important that people realize traffic's going to be worse than it's probably been in the past because of this. And no matter what the president says about expedited funding, that's still a long time away. Engineering and building, we're talking years still, no matter how fast they do it. So it's going to be impacting us, and us getting the control over our side roads is going to be even more important. It also underscores why we need to push forward on the replacement bridge because this was an accident that caused this to happen, but also age can make these bridges fall, and it happens in other areas of the country, so you just can't keep ignoring the condition of the infrastructure in this country. Secretary of Housing and Community Development, Jake Day, was here today. I did a roundtable with him and some local business leaders. They're very complimentary of the things that we're doing in this county. So we're ahead of a lot of other counties in some of our efforts for workforce housing. Obviously, more to be done, but compared to some other counties, we're really sort of trying new things and on the cutting edge of that. It was very nice. It's nice to have a cabinet member who is from the Eastern Shore and understands us. So he was a pretty cool guy. I had not met him before. Really nice guy. So like that. Also, want to say we did the moment of silence for Chris Drummond earlier, and for people who are watching who don't understand sort of what an institution he was for this county. He started Planning Commission as the attorney for the Planning Commission in 1988. Right, I was starting high school in 1988. Right, that was when I first moved here. Was 1988. That is a long time, and the amount of knowledge that he had. And the input he had in shaping the county and the planning, it is a loss of institutional knowledge that is irreplaceable, tragic. Still a very young guy, in my opinion. And his service to the county is really, I think the county owes him, debt of gratitude. That was a lot that he did. And he's not the only one. We have a lot of these people who have these long tenures with the county and this institutional knowledge and what they've done. And, some people who have moved to the county more recently don't understand that, right? And don't understand the input that people have, going back to the days when this was just a really small county, right? And everybody knew everybody. So I just want to point out that significant contribution that Chris Drummond had to this county.
Well, and just to pigtail on that, we did have recognition luncheon for folks that work here in the county as county employees, for their 5-year commitments and 10-year commitments and 15-year commitments and 20-year commitments and 25-year commitments and 30-year commitments. So a big, 35 years commitment, and we actually had a 45-year commitment. So that to me, that does big accolades. And you talk about institutional knowledge, and the folks that we have working in our community who have been here and working for the citizens for so long. When you take a look at the private sector, people are jumping jobs for $4,000 a year more, and so I think it speaks volumes for our county employees that have been with us for so long, and there are lots of them. So,
Let's go with the hat on.
I do.
So I got the morning shift with Secretary Day. He's very charismatic. You're right. Salisbury grad, former military mayor. Excuse me. Yeah, I said grad. I'm thinking of my kids now. So it was I'm glad to see him come out, and I guess we have Secretary Addicts on Thursday? Friday, Secretary Addicts on Friday. I can't go to that, I'll be at the Oyster Recovery.
I'm going to that one.
Yeah, you're going to, with Addicts? Good, yeah. We did that trip already once, though, didn't we, last year?
With the governor, though.
Yeah, that's right.
He came along when the governor came, yeah.
Lauren with WBOC came out this afternoon, for a couple sound bites for the issues with the bridge and traffic, and, we went over some of that. I, too, was at the awards for our employees, and I still think it's one of the best things, that we get to do as commissioners is thank those that have done so much for the county. And where we have that program now is really good. I just think that it's come a long way from, a couple,
bag lunch
tokens and right. And yeah. So, I mean, but it's well worth it. So I'm very appreciative of that. To piggyback on what Commissioner Corcorino said, April 10th, Bayside Elementary, 6:30. Please come out there. We want to hear your ideas. We want to, you to hear our ideas, and maybe we can all get through this, because we're going to be facing this for bare bones minimum at least 5 to 6 more years, and that's at the best scenario. And then compound that with the Key Bridge being down, it's going to be some interesting numbers, some very interesting numbers. So, with that, Phil Dumino is going to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Real quick. So, Todd, can we, with that being said, we have a baseline as of this past month. Let's track that from 2 months from now. Bring us those numbers back, just out of curiosity, from our counter up there. We're going to know.
Remember our numbers that we have. Yeah, we have. Yes. Yes, because right now all the numbers that we're using are
We're talking about cutting off.
Maybe keep it a little bit longer.
So you're talking about just take from what the counters have.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see what the bump is.
I'd like to see it, come summertime, because I think
a couple times.
Yeah, I think a lot of that corridor going up there, normally meant you're going through Cecil County and down into the Delaware side. So that's what's going to be the interesting point. But I think it's also going to play huge between Curtis Bay and how they want to get around to the northwest, northeast. Excuse me.
Your northern shipping lanes now are cut off to go that way. You figure Trade Point Atlantic, they're going to come up. I suspect you're going to see a big uptick in traffic on 213, because that always was a cutover before the bypass, right? But so who's going to want to drive all the way up to the bypass? If you're coming out of Trade Point Atlantic, right, you can't go that way.
Yeah.
If you got to go north and you want to get around to here, you're going to go up, probably cut across 213. So we're liable to see an uptick through here like they had before the bypass.
Yeah. Well, wait to see. I mean, I got to give kudos to MDTA and Secretary, Wiedefeld. I think that they're going to I think they're going to make Maryland shine with what they come up with. I'm impressed with them. So hopefully, as long as they get a plan together, that's all we can ask for. So, Bill, no?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.